Good morning, everyone. In today's video, we are doing our monthly or weekly check-in, just doing the maths. There has been some really cool developments with uncommons, and not enough people have done uncommon maths, so I'm going to be here to do that for you. But I want to make sure that I do everything right. So just to double check, we are doing GGT price at 0.2063, GGT 0.2063. On the marketplace right now, the cheapest uncommon is 7,886. And then we're just going to go down to the cheapest common market, which is 1915 is what I had. Sorry, I misled you guys. Obviously, somebody's bought the floor. And then finally, we're doing GMT just to buy some shoes. How much is that chilling at right now? 0.055. Sorry about me being a little bit sick, but bottom line is StepnGo still profitable to mint? So this was the main thing that a lot of people have been asking. A lot of people have been messaging me about ROI and essentially my step in journey. Do I have uncommons? At the moment, I don't. I'm still using a walker. I got into, I wouldn't say a big argument, but I basically said when uncommons first joined, I wouldn't pay 1,500 or 20k for the walkers and the joggers, and I was going to wait for about 3.5 times the price of commons, is what I said. And at the time, I think commons were maybe 3,000. And that was because if you burn these shoes, you get 3 times the amount of energy. So to me, uncommon should always be worth more than 3 times the amount of energy. And so to me, at the moment, they're just below 4 times the amount. So 3.5 is the good price, but unfortunately, that's only for runners. If we change it to joggers, you can see that it quickly goes back up to 5 times the amount at 10k. And then if you go to walkers, it might just be even higher, 6 times the amount nearly at 11,400. So there is a huge difference, but I thought I'd have some fun and just get back into the breeding calculations and also just look at our other metrics, which is just our 90 energy return, how much that cost, how much you're expecting to make. So once again, if you were to start stepping and just do what I do, how much are you expecting to make on 90 energy? It's actually its all-time high. It's like 48%, which is much higher than it's ever been. However, you can see that it has been a very volatile period since tokens have the uncommon shoes have come out. The tokens around GMT and GGT have been a little bit volatile in the last, like you can just use the month. It went from 0.18 all the way up to 0.33, then back down, then back up, and now it's gone a little bit back down. So will it go back up or will it continue to go down as uncommons essentially increase the efficiency of the energy to GGT token earning ratio? But for me, I'm looking at about a 48% return on 90 energy. So not too bad. You know, for every $105 I spend, hopefully I can pull out just under $100. In terms of breeding, this was the one metric that if you look at all the other videos, this one makes sense. So common to common breeding has now basically hit neutral. If not, I'm surprised it's not even negative. I thought this would be a little bit negative because essentially what you have is a like 2 to 3% chance to mint an uncommon and a 2 to 3% chance to get doubles. So now essentially you're no longer breeding for, so breeding, you breed for energy, it's now a neutral cost, but you're hitting that 2 to 3% chance for either uncommons or twins to then double your return at 100. What I've done for my maths for common times uncommon, so if you go to the sneaker minting website and the white paper, there's a lot of details about it, but not enough, and the numbers aren't there. So it's like a little bit messy and you have to ask around in the Discord, and there's a lot of good material on like Twitter. So I'm trying to compile it all into one little spout bus. So somebody kindly shared this with me, which is the StepnGo mint cost. So if you've done 0 mints and 1 mints, which are virgin shoes, which is what we're mainly going to be focused on. So assuming that you're going to mint the first 2 shoes of every shoe, common to common strategy, you're burning, 200 for the one shoe, 200 for the other. So it's a 400 cost, but you also have to level them up to level 10. Same thing with uncommon, but except it's 800, so 4 times the amount. So you can see what we've done in terms of our cost. As I said, it's 400 to mint, 200, 200, and then 80 to level up one of the shoes, but then you do 80 to level up the other shoe. And then when you do your return, I simply take the floor price of the common times the GMT price, but then also I times it by 0.94 because there's a 6% market fee when you sell it. So taking all that into mathematical calculations, this wonderful champion created a chart which basically explained it all to you percentage-wise, but not cost-wise. So I'm going to help him with the cost-wise perspective. So once again, if you do a common uncommon, 97% of the time, you're going to get a common. 3% of the time, you're going to hit the jackpot, get an uncommon, and you're going to basically, depending on what type it is, we've already looked at it, you're either going to be getting, 4 times your money, 5 times your money, or 6 times the floor price of a common. So you hit big. It's like hitting the lottery. You make some good money. But if you do uncommon and a common mint, so you're going to be paying, going back to this chart, you're going to pay 800 for the uncommon, 200 for the common, and then 80 to level up one of the shoes, or for the first mint, and then 80 for the other mint. So you're spending about, you can see, 1,080 GGT. So I've just locked it in. It's our GGT price. So more than double the cost of a common and common. So you're at 222. Return wise, this is where it's different. So looking at the maths, you have a 50% chance of either getting a common shoebox or a uncommon shoebox. And then the problem is you go 50-50, but then once you get the uncommon, I've actually done the maths wrong. But once you've done an uncommon, from there, you still have to either sell it or you have to then take the gamble and go 25% chance to get a common. But it's still a 50-50. So my maths was, I basically took 50-50 is what I used. And I basically did 50% of the cost of the floor, 50% cost of the uncommon floor, and you're looking at a profit of 30 on average, but it depends on how lucky you get, because essentially, if you're super lucky and you're hitting uncommons, that $30 isn't $30 every time you mint. It's more like, $400 to $500 to $600 instead of $30. However, if you hit a common, you go in bankrupt and you're basically paying $300 or $222, and you're only getting a return of like 100. So you do lose your money if you miss that. The other thing is, are you prepared to do the unboxes? Because if you get the box, what's wrong with this? I want shoe boxes. Let's see. Okay, 2,300 if we do uncommon. Okay, so see, that's my point. So I don't know if it's better to sell the shoebox at a higher price. So if you can sell these shoe boxes at above floor price, because basically, as you've seen with uncommons, the main thing is you don't want running shoes. Running uncommons are worth the floor price. Then it's joggers, then it's walkers. So if you go back to the minting thing, when you mint your sneaker shoes, and let's say the worst one is a runner and a runner, there's an 85% chance it's going to be a runner, but there's still a 6 and a 3% chance it's a trainer. So you don't want, so my opinion is, if you're doing a minting strategy, don't be the hero that unboxes the boxes, rather sell the crates, sell them at floor price if you have to, or just above floor price, because essentially selling a virgin shoe that can be used to remint. But you could be getting, instead of 7,800, we're looking at 9,800, but let's just round it down. You want to quickly sell it, so maybe like 9,000. Your profit doubles in terms of the math of the 50-50 if you were doing long-term minting, is my point. And then this goes the same thing with uncommons and uncommons, is that when you do a mint, there's 100% chance that you're going to be getting the uncommon box. But then if you unbox it and you open it, it then becomes a 75-25. And then what that looks like is oops. So then we have to go here and we just quickly change this to a B. And I think we can just delete all this. And then we just need to go that. And then we go that. Is that wrong? Why is that wrong? No, that seems right. I'm not happy. Okay. B. So you can see that instead of unboxing, if you just sell the uncommon box and you don't unbox for the 25% chance, the only reason you'd be unboxing yourself is that you want the shoes. And that's a different story. If you're going to keep chain reactions, it just depends on how many mints you need to do. Either way, it is still highly profitable to mint uncommons and commons if you have enough funds and you have enough mint quotas. But yeah, I just thought I'd share this with you. I find it pretty interesting. The next topic I really want to explore is essentially the gemstone strategy, because when you play with an uncommon shoe, you decide if you want to farm gemstones or if you want to farm GGT. But I do need more data. So if any of you guys are running around with uncommons, let me know down below and I can explore that option and check it all out. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.